streets are talking again. They know there's only one man big enough to run this city.
Colin, obviously you played this role before in The Batman.
Yeah.
What were some of the changes you knew you wanted to make to Oz when you knew you were going to be spending this extended time with him?
I mean, I had no idea what the show was going to be. I just knew that I was going to have a certain walk, that I was going to look a certain way from the film, have a certain accent, etc.
This is my operation. You can't just shut it down.
And then I had a half an hour, 45-minute Zoom with Lauren, and she took me through the whole 8 episodes, and I was blown away. So it wasn't anything different, it was just more and deeper. Just an ability to kind of dig into his psychology and his behavior and why he was the way he was, what his ambitions are, how deep those ambitions are hardwired into him, and it all goes back, unsurprisingly, to his childhood. So the job that Lauren LaFranc did with her team of writers in articulating all the characters as individual psychologies, but also the job that she did in how she wrote scenes between characters. Like Oz is different with Sofia than he is with his ma, than he is with Victor, and she was so particular in how she designed those, but fundamentally the relationship between him and his mother.
This city is meant to be yours, sweetheart. What are you gonna do to get it?
Cristin, what's the first choice you remember making for Sofia as a character?
I knew that I wanted her to move differently, and I worked with like a really incredible movement coach, and so maybe that was like one of the earlier steps.
Yeah, obviously the moment we see her just standing behind the penguin, that posture, that movement is so
Right.
clear. What's the juice there? What's happening?
Well, I mean, I also kind of want to like keep that juice.
Okay.
Because I don't want anyone thinking about the juice.
Yeah,
know what I
don't
mean?
let the
Yeah.
juice loose
Like-
about this house. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I thought a lot about how someone who would have to hold a lot, how that would affect how you move through a space. 'Cause she's never really safe until she makes it safe.
I want to talk about costuming and hair and makeup, of course. Any methods you developed to stay loose when you have all that weight of makeup?
The bodysuit that I was wearing put my core temperature up by, I don't know, even half a degree throughout the day, and I was pumping sweat, so I had to stay cool. They were kind enough to give me a tent, which would follow the crew as we were shooting this thing all around New York, and even if we were in the studio. They did start having the studio temperature put really, really low, but the crew had to come in and winter coats and scarves, and nobody could do their work because the temperature was so low, because the makeup would fall off, you know, and so they gave me this tent. They had 3 industrial air conditioners, and in between takes, not setups, literally between takes, like between take 2 and 3, which would only be 3 or 4 minutes, I'd leave the set, go into the tent, cool down for a couple of minutes and back out. So that was something that was a lifesaver.
I feel better.
Okay, I want to talk about any outside influences in your characterization, either fictional characters or real people in your own life.
I really tried to stay away from anything that would influence her. I really tried to make it my own creature, but I watched a lot of performances like To Have Courage, to sort of like go big or go home, for like lack of a better term.
That's so interesting. Obviously, you have a theater background.
Yeah.
Does it feel different sometimes in the on-set situation to really let loose like that versus on stage?
It does feel different. It's just, it's a different kind of stamina, you know? And it's obviously so much is out of your control when you're on a set because you're your own editor when you're on the stage. But I will say that this show felt very operatic, especially in these very intense scenes. You really got to feel like you were in a play, which is very, very rare. There were so many moments in 4 when I felt like I was in a play. There are so many moments later on in the show, like in 8, that I felt like I was in a long, beautiful, twisted, demented, dark play.
I refuse to let these old men push me aside again. So I'm gonna take from them now. And I'm gonna force them to their knees.
You were saying earlier how character dynamics come out within a scene. Is there an example of that that comes to mind for your 2 characters?
I just really enjoyed how much as Colin enjoyed working with Cristin, but how much Oz actually ended up really enjoying. Do you know what the scene was? The one in the Apex.
Yeah.
We had the scene in the
Yeah.
Apex Club. I just felt like these 2 creatures were on the same page, and they were enjoying each other, and they were enjoying the dynamic of going out into the world and kind of building this dream that they had had individually, but they were also now sharing. And I also knew what was going to happen to their relationship as well,
Right.
without getting too much into it. But so that was a lovely place to kind
That
of...
and the mushroom warehouse.
Yeah, totally as well.
That was like, there was kind
Yeah.
of all around the same time, sort of actually mirroring what's happening with them, like as they're, and I also always loved the shared cigarette
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What we watched yesterday
yeah,
or whatever.
absolutely.
But yeah, there were definitely
Yeah.
these moments. Because the first thing that we ever shot together is the scene in the restaurant.
That was your first day.
That was my
That was
first
a
day.
beast
I know.
of a first
That was
day.
a beast of a first day. It was extremely nerve-wracking. But
Yeah, which was
but I
great.
also felt like we found so much in there, even though we didn't know each other, but in a way that was helpful.
Yeah.
People underestimate you, but not me. I've always known you were capable of more.
I'm surprised to hear you say nerve-wracking. I mean, you have been in so many projects. You still feel nervous.
Man, never leave.
Kidding? No, I mean, I feel like actually I hate how much the first half of any project I'm on, no matter what, I spend in like such a spiral of who could do it better, who they should have gotten, the ways in which I'm.
you recast?
Oh my god, recast instantly
yeah.
because you're so scared because you care about it so much, it's so vulnerable. And now I've gonna just try to make peace with like I'm gonna just spin and have shame.
it
and
becomes part of the
It's
process
whatever, it's part of
almost,
it, and
you
like
know.
that sucks, but like oh well.
I remember asking Liam Cunningham. Do you know Liam Cunningham?
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So one of my first jobs ever was a thing called Falling for a Dancer, which was a 4-part miniseries. I was maybe 22 or so, and I was so terrified. And I remember asking Liam on the set one day, does he still get nervous? And I remember him saying, yeah, if I ever stop getting nervous, I mean, it's time to give up the job.
It's true.
You know, and there's something about the complacency that
Yeah.
would mean an absolute total lack of nervousness that I would hate to be visited by.
Yeah.
I mean, you
for
do all the
sure.
work you can, you think about it, you prepare,
Oh my God.
but at the end of the day, you want to have the grace of uncertainty be your accomplice, because it
Yeah.
can be your accomplice. It can allow you to
Beautiful.
explore.
So much of the nerves is about being able to like serve who I'm with, especially when you're with actors who you love acting with. Like, so yeah, I do think it's healthy, even though it is.
Yeah,
a lot
pain
of
in the
it.
arse
Oh my God.
sometimes. Yeah.
So much spinning.
Yeah, 25 years
I
later.
know,
still.
I know.
Yeah.
My friends are like, shut up. Yeah.